Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we'll be talking about how I used overpowered charge moves and gave up switch advantage to swing the tempo of a hard counter based meta. The Rose Cup was known for being rather clunky in that you had to line up specific roles and the battles could be very one-sided. Unlike other rock paper scissors metas, there was a lot of room for shield baiting in this meta, so we're going to use that idea to create our line and strategy. While the Rose Cup meta is long over, we still think that the strategies and gameplay used in this video will be helpful to improve your own PvP play. Charizard and Medicham are going to be our two main Pokemon here, as they both have bait options and nuke options. Charizard's Blast Burn does so much damage that even its counters don't want to take one of those. This makes Charizard an incredibly strong safe swap. My Medicham is running Psychic to provide strong neutral damage if it gets stuck either in a mirror or against a Marowak. My goal is to build an energy advantage on these Pokemon to pressure the opponent's shields without needing to try and bait. The game plan will be to lead Medicham in hopes of catching their anti-flyer, and if I don't, I'm going to immediately swap to Charizard to get the energy going while they swap in their counter. Charizard's Blast Burn will deal a lot of damage to whatever they send in, and Charizard's low defense will let them kill it before the switch timer is back up. Having Medicham ready to go, I can farm up their tank, leaving us both at an even matchup, but this time with Medicham having an energy lead in exchange for a small HP disadvantage. To finish out the line, I'll either have Golbat or Wigglytuff, as Golbat's Shadow Ball is another must-shield charge move, and Wigglytuff can handle the Sableye that gives this line trouble. To recap, I always want to run Charizard with Medicham and build up an energy advantage so I never have to rely on a shield bait. If I see a Sableye on their team, I'll have Wigglytuff in the back to make sure it's not a problem. Otherwise, I'll aim to close out with Golbat's Shadow Ball. In this first game, we see Sableye there, as well as a Granbull instead of Wigglytuff. Our Wigglytuff will win the straight farm down against a Granbull, but he will get to a charged move before we do, meaning that we'll need to invest a shield to win the matchup. The anti-flyer here is Probopass, and other than the Sableye, Medicham can take up pretty much everything else with the neutral psychic damage. So, we'll need to run Wigglytuff as our closer so we don't get walled by a shielded Sableye. We don't get the Probopass in the lead, so we follow our plan to immediately switch to Charizard. Marowak will actually win this battle against Charizard as well as Medicham. However, if he has Probopass, now is the only time he'll be able to use it, as we're giving him a chance to keep it away from our Medicham. As we expect, the Probopass comes in, and you'll see we're already almost at a Blast Burn. The Probopass, we can see, is running Spark, and so he'll need to use energy to kill Charizard, as Spark will not be able to farm it down before we get to several Blast Burns. He throws Rock Slide and we let it hit so we can get Medicham back in there. Now that we've executed our plan to sack swap Charizard, let's look at the win condition we set up. We have Medicham and Wigglytuff versus Marowak and whatever his third Pokemon is. Knowing the switch timer is down, Medicham is going to get to farm down Probopass. With Spark Probopass, he's going to get to one last charge move right before we take him out with counters, but Medicham does not need to shield it, as Marowak and his other third Pokemon will pose a much bigger threat. With Probopass out of the way, we can fight almost anything in the back using Wigglytuff, and with full energy on Medicham, we can fight Marowak because we're running Psychic to deal the heavy neutral damage. Both players still also have two shields, so we send in Medicham to farm down, and here's the Marowak. We're not going to try and play any shield games here, as we can just throw Psychics at this thing to either chunk him down or get a shield. As Psychic was not the preferred move at the time, he lets it go through thinking that he'll have to shield to secure the win with his third Pokemon. We're also going to make the same play, however our opponent decides to try and shield bait us. This is a mistake on his part, because with Probopass out of the way, Medicham doesn't have any other great targets, so he should be going straight Shadow Ball. He throws the Bone Club, so we decide to stay in and force him to use the rest of his energy unless he wants to take another Psychic, or go down a shield in the closing matchup. With Marowak at low health, Wigglytuff now has no problem charming him down. In the back he has a Medicham, so this game is over. At this point, even if he had Charizard in the back, Wigglytuff can win that matchup just farming down with our two shields. Going into round 2, we've shown that we are not afraid to run Wigglytuff into a double fire Probopass team, so I'm gonna bet that we've scared off the Sableye, and we're gonna go into our main lineup of Metachan, Golbat as a closer now, and Charizard. This time we actually catch the Probopass in the lead. This means we can play out the general hard counter rock paper scissors style meta. He charges up a bit and switches out. He throws in Marowak, which is perfect that we have Golbat. Having not used any shields last time, I'm sure he'll shield a Poison Fang, so we're going to go for the bait. We're also going to shield because we need to win this matchup. Metachan will not need a shield to fight Probopass later on. We get the bait, shield a Shadow Ball, and take out the Marowak. Probopass comes in, but because it's running Spark, it's going to need to throw energy at some point, or it's going to take a Shadow Ball. He throws immediately, and as we have Charizard still, we don't need to shield, saving a shield later on for Charizard. We wait out the timer just a bit as ours is behind his, and we want to make sure we can match a swap. He switches to Metachan, and we immediately go to Charizard no matter what comes in. Probopass is Charizard's biggest threat on that team, so we know that we can safely swap Charizard into whatever is coming next. At this point, we have no reason not to go for the Blast Burn immediately. He has a shield up, and our Metachan has Psychic to win the mirror. If I try and bait with a Dragon Claw and I fail, I could end up losing the 1v2 with my Metachan, as I haven't seen his Metachan's second move. He shields Blast Burn and throws an Ice Punch to finish Charizard right before we get to another move. Our Metachan has full energy, switch timers are down, and Probopass can't really do anything to beat our Metachan. We finish out by missing some bubbles on Psychic and throwing an Ice Punch last second on the Probopass just for fun. Let's look at a match where we go up against an unconventional team and see how the strategy still works with different targets. This team has a Haunter, a Drapion, and a Steelix as the anti-flyer. Having a Steel type as the anti-flyer, Charizard is going to put in a lot of work against this team. And with an energy advantage from a swap, there isn't a whole lot that can stand in his way. We're still going to lead Metachan and swap to Charizard, but as this is one of my frequent practice partners, we both know that my previous team had a lot of trouble with Drapion, so I'll be sure to bring Wigglytuff this round instead of Golbat. The game starts and we get a bad lead, which is fine, this is all part of the plan. Haunter is so squishy that Wigglytuff can charm it down later, and any damage from Charizard will put pressure on it. Even Metachan's Ice Punch could warrant a shield. We swap to Charizard to see how he reacts. Knowing he can take Metachan with Haunter, he's going to want to swap to preserve that matchup. As he can't use Steelix against Charizard, he'll have to find something other than his usual anti-flyer to take this thing out. He comes in with Blaziken. We keep going with their game plan and immediately launch the Blast Burn. Blaziken, while taking resisted damage from Blast Burn, does not want to tank this, so we are in a great spot. Blaziken takes the move anyway, and goes down to the red. While normally we would let Charizard go down in this part of the strategy, his team does not have a great way to handle it. So seeing Blaziken come in, I know that he doesn't have the Drapion that I was expecting to see. He also knows that he needs to get Haunter onto Metachan again. By shielding this move, I can preserve Charizard's HP, wait out the timer, and get more energy to either force a shield or do a lot of damage on another Pokemon. He comes back in with Haunter and has to immediately throw Shadow Punch. Throwing this forces me to either double shield Charizard or let it go without using the energy. If I shield, he would have to shield my Dragon Claw and then race me to the farm down, so I let Charizard go. Switch timers are still down on both sides, and as mine is right ahead of his because I switched first, this lets me get my Wigglytuff onto Haunter and I can keep Metachan for his last Pokemon. He throws in Steelix. Now this is looking pretty good, but as I don't want to have to take 2 crunches with Metachan, I'm going to leave Wigglytuff in to do as much damage as possible and force Steelix to use its energy as Dragon Tail does no damage to Wigglytuff. This will secure the win as Metachan is now free to farm down the Steelix without worry of Steelix getting to 2 charge moves. Round 2, I'm going to play out the same strategy as I know he doesn't have anything that can really answer the Charizard swap. Against this team, I'm going to shield the Charizard again to get back switch advantage, and neither one of these Pokemon will die to fast moves. We get all his shields down, have Wigglytuff locked onto Drapion, and yet still have a shielded Metachan without the threat of the Sableye in the back. By using Charizard's strong Blast Burn damage paired with Metachan's Psychic damage, I was able to trick our opponents into letting us lock Metachan onto their tank, and push an energy lead to consistently win against a hard counter-based meta. Using bench pressure from the rest of my team, I was able to keep my opponent from running specific Pokemon that could fight back against this line. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all our PvP guides to help you improve your own gameplay.